All right, thank you. You may be seated. All right, your next witness.
Our next witness is Mr. IO Tillet Wright, and it starts with counsel for Mr. Depp asking questions, and then we'll switch over to me.
All right, thank you.
Right, good morning again. Have you had any communications with Ms. Hurd at all, including text or emails or otherwise, in connection with your preparation for this deposition?
No.
Have you had any? When's the last time you spoke to her?
April of last year. April or May. Almost a year ago.
Mr. Wright, when did you first meet Ms. Hurd?
I met Amber in the end of 2011.
And where did you meet her?
In Los Angeles.
And what were the circumstances of the meeting?
A friend was introducing us to each other so that I could photograph her for a large portrait series that I was doing at the time.
And what was your profession in 2011?
I was a photographer and I worked for the New York Times, I think. I don't recall exactly everything, but...
In 2011, you were both a photographer and separately worked for the New York Times as a freelancer.
I worked for the New York Times as a journalist and photographer.
And what is your profession today?
I'm a writer and a producer.
And between 2011 and through the present, have you had any other professions other than photographer, writer, or producer?
Yes.
And what are those?
I've hosted a television show or two. I made some podcasts. I wrote 2 other books. 2 books. 3 books. 3 books. I've written 3 books. A number of things. I don't know. There are more things, but I've always been a multi-hyphenate person. To the best of my recollection, we initially met at a mutual friend's house, which I think I already stated. That friend is also an actor and had met Amber at the Children's Hospital while they were both volunteering, and knew that Amber had done quite a bit of LGBT activism, and mentioned my project to her, and then invited her over to the other friend invited Amber to her house so that we could all meet. And Amber and I discovered that we liked the same books and we liked psychology, and just, you know, laughed and had fun that night. And then I asked her if she would participate in the photo project, I think, or somebody did, and she said yes. A couple of days later, I went to the house that she was staying at, and I photographed her for the project. And then thereafter, I went back to New York, where I lived. And I remember her texting me and saying that she was shooting a movie in New York, and did I want to get lunch? So we got lunch, and we became friends.
Okay, please walk me through that.
We met in 2011. We started becoming friends soon thereafter. Very early in 2013, I came to LA to spend a couple of months with my then, I don't know if she was my girlfriend or my fiance at that point, but the person that I was in a relationship with, in a very serious relationship with. And during the time that I was in LA, I spent more time with Amber. We both spent more time with Amber. And I was introduced to Johnny. And the summer of 2013, I ended up moving to LA, during which Amber and Johnny and I got even closer, very, very close. And then we remained close, the three of us, for 2-ish years. And then all of this happened, this nightmare, and Johnny and I stopped being friends, and Amber and I stayed friends. And then Amber and I were friends up until the date that I told you that we last spoke.
And at some point in time, did you live on the same property as Johnny Depp and Amber Heard?
Yes.
And when was that?
It was August 2013 until, I believe, June 1st of 2014. I moved into my own house, so 9 months.
And why is it that you left that property, left living there?
Because I didn't want to live for free in someone's property, and I wanted to have my own house and support myself.
And for how long after that did you stay close with both Johnny and Amber?
I stayed close with both of them. I don't remember. It was sometime in 2015, I think, late 2015 maybe. Johnny and I were no longer. I think the period when I really stopped considering Johnny a friend of mine was December of 2015.
Okay. Well, let me ask it this way. You never saw Mr. Depp assault or beat Ms. Heard on any occasion, correct?
That's correct. I just would like to clarify, Mr. Preciado, that's a question you already asked me, so you're asking me the same question again about whether or not I witnessed Mr. Depp assault Ms. Heard?
That's right.
No, I have not witnessed that.
Let me ask it this way then. Have you ever personally seen Mr. Depp assault or beat Ms. Heard on any occasion?
No.
Now, back to this same paragraph where it says, my experience of Johnny during the time that we were close, from 2013 through 2015, was that he could be incredibly kind, generous, and loyal. Can you give me examples of his kindness, generosity, and loyalty during that period of time?
Johnny, when sober, was lovely and magical and very funny. Johnny, when sober, was incredibly lucid and imaginative, and I felt a kindred connection with him and a shared perspective on the world that I've shared with very few people in my life. Johnny, when sober, understood how much influence he had over people, and he was very kind to them about it and generous with talking to them about whatever came up. And he was also, when sober, very he made time for people's nervousness around him, which I witnessed on a number of occasions. He also he had his number of houses on that street, and there was a constant rotation of different people coming to town who could all afford to live somewhere else or stay somewhere else, who he would let and enjoyed having in those houses, which I find to be generous.
in the next paragraph, paragraph 6, you refer to Mr. Depp's struggles with respect to OxyContin. You say that in late 2013, after dental surgery, he became hooked on OxyContin. Did you ever experience him while he was on OxyContin?
Yes.
And while he was on OxyContin, did you ever experience him to be mean or vicious?
I can't answer that with any accuracy because I don't know whether or not the times that I did see him be mean or vicious, he was also on OxyContin.
In paragraph 5, where you say that he could be incredibly mean and vicious, especially when he was drunk or high.
The substances that I saw him ingest with my own eyes were cocaine and any kind of alcohol would bring out a very, when he would take any kind of psychedelic like ecstasy or MDMA. Yeah, I think that I answered your question.
You mentioned that you witnessed him having had cocaine. Did you ever have cocaine with him?
No.
Were there any drugs or substances that you took with him?
I don't smoke marijuana. I don't do cocaine. For the entire period that I knew Johnny and thereafter, I did not drink alcohol. There was I think 1 week period during the peak of my breakup, during which Johnny offered me some pain pills to get through the intensity of that situation, and that was the only time that I took any substances for 3.5 years. No, that's not true. That was the only time that I took any substances with Johnny. And yeah, all the other things that I had stated previously about what I do and don't do are also accurate.
So I'm sorry, just to summarize that, is your testimony that when you witnessed Mr. Depp drunk and high, you were not also either drunk or high? Is that your testimony?
My testimony is that during the entire period that I knew Mr. Depp, I was never drunk or drinking or consuming alcohol at all. My testimony is that for a 1, maybe 2 week, possibly 2.5 week, I don't remember, period, on a sporadic occasion, I took some pain pills that Mr. Depp offered me to get through an extreme emotional pain situation. When I witnessed Johnny doing cocaine, I was not drunk or high. Other occasions that I witnessed Johnny drinking, I was not drunk or high. There was a very narrow window during which I was taking some mind-altering pain pills for a very brief period, during which I witnessed Johnny drunk and high.
Did you ever witness Miss Amber Heard drunk or high?
Yes.
And did you ever witness her drink alcohol?
Yes.
Objection.
Did you ever witness her ingesting cocaine?
Are you asking, like, ever in the history of time have I ever witnessed Amber ingest cocaine?
That's the first question, yes.
The answer is
Right.
no. Amber was vehemently against cocaine.
Did you ever witness her smoke marijuana?
No. Marijuana is not her drug.
What is her drug?
I haven't spoken to Amber in a year, but as far as I know and have known her for the last 11 or 12 years, Amber doesn't have a narcotic of choice.
Have you seen her ingest ecstasy?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
How many times have you seen her ingest ecstasy?
I can think of one instance in particular when she took it for her birthday, like a celebration. wasn't
Do you recall what year that was?
common event.
Other than the narcotics and alcohol that I mentioned, did you ever witness Ms. Heard ingest any other drugs?
Are you asking me if, other than, what did you ask me about? Cocaine, ecstasy, and mushrooms, I've witnessed Amber taking any other illegal narcotics? Or are you asking me about prescription medications? Can you clarify?
Narcotics other than prescription narcotics.
I don't know, but I don't actually think so, no.
Okay.
Amber drinks red wine when she's not training, or let me rephrase that. Amber, when I knew her, drank red wine in the evenings fairly regularly, with the exception of when she was training for an acting role.
Have you ever witnessed Miss Heard intoxicated?
Yes.
And how often would you estimate that you witnessed Miss Heard intoxicated?
I don't know how to quantify intoxicated. If you're asking me how often I witnessed her drunk, is that your question?
Yes.
Amber's strangely immune to getting drunk unless she's really drunk a lot. So I didn't see her drunk very often. I saw her drinking often, but I didn't see her out of her faculties very often. Like, you know, I saw that a handful of times in the 11 years that I knew her.
And how would you describe how alcohol affects Miss Heard's personality based on your experience?
You know, it depends on the circumstance. If it was during a moment when she was celebrating, it would make her loose. Like if we were salsa dancing, then, you know, she would have fun and be fun and at a party and, you know, inebriated and dancing and having fun. If she was in a stressful situation, I think it would just kind of exacerbate whatever the feeling of the moment was.
I'm going to ask you to state your name for the record. Nobody has yet. This is me. In case you haven't recognized my voice.
All right, go
My
ahead.
name is IO Tillet Wright.
Let's bring up DEP exhibit number 1 again, please. Mr. Tillet Wright, you were asked some questions by Mr. Presidio. And I'm going to take you back up to the first page where you were asked some questions. And he started out with, I'm just going to draw your attention to paragraph 4. And you indicated you met Johnny Depp through Amber. And you hit it off immediately. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And then you explained to Mr. Presidio that you considered Johnny to be a close friend and you cared very much about Mr. Depp. Is that correct?
He became a close friend and I did care very much about him. I still care very much about him.
All right. Could you please describe that relationship that you had with Mr. Depp up until I think you said December of 2015?
Sure. Okay, Mr. Depp and I first met. Amber invited me over to his house with my then partner, girlfriend. I don't know if she was my fiance yet or not. In I think February of 2013, right at the beginning of 2013. And we all hung out, the 4 of us hung out in his house, in his living room, and just kind of talked and got to know each other. And it was sweet. I was mostly hanging out with Amber and kind of meeting this person. It was a trip to meet someone like that, you know, and see his house. And he was very friendly and very welcoming and very kind. And then the next time we saw each other was at, Amber and I both like to do what we call family dinners. So we invite people over and cook for them and have a dinner party. And Amber did an elaborate family dinner at her house, and Johnny and I and my ex and Amber and I believe Whitney were there. I don't know if anyone else was there. I'm sure other people were there. I don't remember. And Johnny and I really connected at that dinner. We were sitting either opposite each other or just catty corner from each other, and I left feeling a very intense connection to him, and I was like, well, yeah, sure, everybody probably feels an intense connection to him because of who he is. I'll forget it. It's ridiculous. And then a couple of days later, Amber had another dinner, such a dinner at her house, and Johnny and I had another really good time and felt very connected and really laughed a lot and whatever. And at the end of the dinner, as I was standing to leave with my ex, Johnny came up to me and said, I don't really know how to say this because it doesn't happen to me very often, but I think I love you. And I felt strange because I felt the same way. And I said, that's funny because I had that same experience after the last dinner party too. And then we joked about how crazy and ridiculous that felt. And we exchanged phone numbers, and then he texted me wanting to talk about Amber a couple of times, and I felt that it was like kind of violating her privacy. So I said that I was happy to be friendly with him and happy to, I don't remember exactly what I said, but something to the effect of like, you know, I'm happy to give advice or to help you guys stay in concert with each other, but I don't want to violate anybody's privacy with the other one. And I think he really respected that and really liked that because he also values his privacy greatly. And then, yeah, I was in LA for a couple more months, and I don't know, I think maybe we hung out more during that period. I'm not sure. I don't remember if they came to New York during the next stretch of time or what happened, but basically by the summer, I came back to LA to write, and had a very bad breakup with that fiance, and was going through some things personally that Johnny, you know, he was like, I recognize what's happening for you. It was like particularly bad anxiety related, trauma related things. And I didn't expect him to offer me any support around that stuff, but he just was like, wait, I see what you're going through. You know, this is my experience of it. I have the same thing, and let's talk about it. And like, if you need anything, I'm here. And I was like, thank you so much. You know, I didn't really expect that. And I went back to New York to be with my family for a couple days or maybe a week or something. And it was very painful to be there. And he had said, if it's painful to be there, you know, just let me know and come back and stay here. And so I did. And I came back, and I originally was going to stay at Amber's house because she kept her apartment for a number of years while they were together, even though she stayed at his house a lot, that she paid for, etc. And she was, you know, the person that I'd known longer, so I felt more comfortable being at her house. And then the consensus was that I should be closer to them. And so he said, oh, there's this house that's just sitting empty at the end of the street. Just stay there. And I was very hesitant because I didn't want to take advantage of him. And he was insistent, and he was very kind about it. And he said that he understood fully what having PTSD and anxiety could do, and that he wanted to help. So I went and I stayed there. And then that was, I'm guessing, in August of 2013. And then in September, I think, Amber went to England to shoot a movie. So I was there, and Johnny and I would hang out on our own, and Johnny doesn't have a ton of friends because he can't, and I would go up and hang out with him. You know, we really enjoyed each other. We really liked each other. And so we would just hang out, you know, on a daily basis, eat dinner or watch movies, and I'd hang out with his kids, and got, you know, very like into like a very sweet uncle niece nephew relationship with his kids, and they called me Uncle IO. And
Mr. Tillet Wright, did you ever call Mr. Depp brother, or your brother, refer to him as your brother?
Yes, I did.
Now, I'm going to take you to paragraph 5 of Depp Exhibit number 1, and Mr. Presidio asked you about this.